Notice this meeting has been provided in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act by posting a copy of the agenda on the bulletin board of the municipal complex, filing a copy of the agenda in the office of the Township Clerk at the municipal complex, forwarding a copy of the agenda to the Lawrence County Times and Carrier Post, forwarding written notice to each person who has requested copies of the regular meeting schedule. All of the above posting, filing, and mailing have taken place on the 21st day of February 2014. Please rise for a moment of silence followed by a flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic in which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, folks, the first part of our meeting is going to be the informal discussion, also what we refer to as the workshop. And Scott, take it away.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have three things listed on the agenda, but I'm also going to use this time, since it encompasses what we used to do a manager's report, to have some discussion regarding the town hall project with Mr. Ray and Mr. Notley. But we're going to start with the first thing on the agenda, which is holiday decorations. At last week's budget workshop, Mr. Newcomer brought up the holiday decorations. For those that don't remember, in 2012, we purchased holiday decorations which essentially covered half the light poles on Main Street between Chester and Church. I believe, and Greg, correct me if I'm wrong, it's been the desire or wish of the appearance committee that the township buy decorations for the rest of the poles. That would cost roughly $17,000. Greg also brought up the possibility, I know the appearance committee's talked about Christmas decorations, holiday decorations for the new town hall, and Victoria also brought up that we have fairly old decorations on Camden Avenue, and that should not be left as an aside when we're talking about holiday decorations. So council agreed at the budget workshop to have a deeper discussion, budget workshop, to have a deeper discussion at this workshop in terms of Christmas decorations. And I think the way to go is the council does want to fund any of that this year. They have to provide the direction so Mr. Michelle can enter whatever amount of money the council wants to put towards that into this year's budget.
When we did this the first time, did we pay for the whole $17,000, or was it? Because I remember part of the discussion was that half would be paid by the NBA and half would be paid by council.
Could I infill a little bit of information on this?
I'm sorry.
They never committed that.
They never committed that. It was kind of like after, but it wasn't really officially. Okay.
What was our outlay for the first time?
$17,000.
That was the total. That was, and you thought NBA was going to cover half of that, or that is the half?
No. I believe it was $35,000 that we were looking at originally.
Originally,
Could
correct.
I infill a little bit of information on this?
Well,
I just
Yeah.
didn't hear Tom's.
sure, there were 61 poles total. We purchased 31 for $16,895. There were issues, though, that maybe Councilman Newcomer could address. Because there were 14 of the 61 poles that we had concerns with, and we did provide Gina Siegel at the time with the location of those poles. And basically, the width of it sticks too far out, where trucks and a lot of them have supply trucks, load truck stuff that delivery trucks that would run into those poles. And actually, some have hit one of the poles because I guess one of them was placed on one of the poles and it kind of twisted. So that has to come up in discussion too, because if we did not purchase those 14, that only leaves 16 left then, and that would be $8,720 if the same pricing was held. I think it was $545 per pole at the time. So some discussion has to have with that, because obviously, we don't want to have two different poles. We did recommend at the time that they buy the smaller pole so it can be consistent. Because we don't want to have guys trying to figure out which pole does this one go on, and stuff. But I don't think that was ever resolved. And unless you know, Mr. O'Connor, if they did resolve that issue with a different size, and because some, I mean, especially around High Street, I think High and Main, there's a pole right there that's, you know, real close. And like I said, there were 14 of them that we had concerns from a traffic safety, and the Public Works Director also had concerns that it would extend out past the curb line.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, just going back to the beginning of this discussion that Scott brought up, and thanks for bringing up that. I was the chair of the Appearance Committee in 2007, and that's when we tried to get these polls. And some of the things that were important to think about are that we went through about 15 varieties of things and tested them, and also had to get permission from PSE&G, because we leased the pole for PSE&G, to have a certain type of decoration, and came to this decoration because it was the most palatable, that would fit on the pole, that, you know, met the design criteria. So there were all those qualifications. In regards to the list Mr. Michel referred to, I don't know if that was previous to my becoming the appearance person, the appearance liaison, or not. I have never been apprised of that list, but certainly seems reasonable that we don't want trucks running into them. Also, just in depth, we talked about the Lanola at our last appearance committee meeting, decorations. And several people, actually one of them lives in Lanola, said that, you know, the issue is not currently as much as new decorations were there, but as much as making the ones that are there work continually, which does not happen, and we need to be sure that that happens if we are going to continue with those decorations. I'm pretty sure, and since, you know, the time was Tuesday and now it's next Monday, so the timing to get actual, if you will, solidifying of everyone and get it down on record is very short. But I'm pretty sure the sensitive appearance committee was to go and ask to get the decorations we have on Main Street and have that budget amount, the drilling down of exactly what that would be, also in my own mind, may not involve going past Friends.
Right.
Because, you know, the poles up at Friends are like maybe 6 or 7 poles, but just be Main Street business proper. So I would say it would be a very good thing for us to get the final portion of this, with Mr. Michel's information to look over, and then come back to the committee when we can actually act on information that's of value from the appearance committee, which is, I believe, what I said in the budget meeting. I want to get as much information as accurate. And
Well,
then,
we certainly need a cost.
right,
Like exactly.
right.
And then we can figure out
Yeah,
where.
I'd be more inclined to look at doing decorations for Town Hall, the new Town Hall area, and also Lanola, only because I think the reason why a lot of those don't work, it's not because we can't get them to work, it's just because they're old. I mean, I think they're very old decorations, which kind of cool and retro looking. But I'd be more inclined to do decorations and figure out what we need there in the Lanola area on Camden Avenue and at the Town Hall. I'm really not inclined to spend another $17,000 for new decorations up on Main Street when we have decorations up there right now. That could be something down the road, but sometimes I think less is more. You know, if we have every single...
If I might, it was with any committees, maybe we should see what the committee would like as far as they're charged with. The apprentice committee is charged with the aesthetic value of the town, and they're supposed to be our expert, just like the planning board is an expert, and that's in their code. If we could get their input, and I'll certainly transmit the idea that you just said to them, but let's get the appearance committee, because we're charged with the appearances.
Well, I agree and disagree with you, Greg. The buck stops with us. But I want to know the cost first, before I say one way or the other. I personally think we started the job of decorating Main Street. I think it's an inexpensive way to invest in our Main Street. But that said, I don't know the exact cost. I also like to know the issue with the poles. I also like to know if the NBA is going to do anything. So this is the point of having discussions on it. So That's my opinion on it.
I don't disagree with you about the cost, we gotta know what we're spending.
Yeah,
Believe me.
so let's carry it, and you'll be able to obtain the cost, Greg, when?
Well, once I go back to the appearance committee, which I've already talked about, I'll explain actually what Stacy just said, and get an idea of ask them to come forward with an idea of which they would like to do. If I'm hearing the council is okay with new decorations for Linola, I mean, that's a second thing, actually.
I don't know either.
Well, I mean, I think, I agree with Stacy that, I think what we have on Main Street now is sufficient. If we're going to be investing in more decorations, I don't know if that's really the place we want to do it. I think we need to look at what we already have in Linola, and, no one's really complaining about the design of them. They're fine, I like them. But we need to see, how much is it gonna cost to really get all of them up in working order? Because they don't look good when, you're driving down the street and half of them are burnt out. It just looks kind of absurd. But, so I think that's something we need to look at, and I would personally prioritize that ahead of Main Street.
I would ask the manager or the council to email me their concerns so I can put them in front of the appearance committee so I'm clear as to what they are, so that we can then carry that.
Well, I'd like to know if they're repairable.
What?
Well, can they be repaired?
That's something else to be found out.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I'll ask.
I'm not Tommy Simple.
Yeah, I'll ask Public Works, and so get down to Tom Simple to look at those lights, because it may not just be a matter of bulbs being out.
From my understanding, they made some repairs during the season.
Right.
And they didn't all stick, and they still didn't all work, so, we'll just have to see if they are repairable.
And it might be
During this
cost-effective to
season.
get a different.
Well, because they're so old, it's not like I can go out and buy replacements, like full replacements, so.
You can in the antique store.
Right.
In the corollary,
Another town.
in the corollary point, was that it was supposed to be that members of the Transit Committee were supposed to look at the existing decorations that were stored, which are separate, which are stored in the lower floor of the recreation building, and figure out if they wanted any of them for anything, and if not, to sell them. That would be a offsetting balance maybe too. So that's also supposed to happen.
And just to clarify too, with Tom, any decorations purchased, this is not an item that would be purchased in the capital budget, this is an item that would be purchased in.
Correct, directly, we have the current budget, so they're not capital items. Also, just for history, the appearance committee has always been involved, but they were the ones who purchased either between 2001 and 2003, the original ones. And unfortunately, whenever you get changes of appearance committee members, then they always want to change the former committee's decorations. So then in 2006 or 7, they voted and changed them, and then back in 2011 again, and again they want to change them. These are the ones that we have, so it does
Well,
occur.
the appearance committee is not the only people that change after time too. Yeah, they look to upgrade and do something well as well.
Correct.
Next thing, Mr.
All right, next thing on the agenda is, okay? It's just setting the next budget workshop. We had a pretty good workshop last week. Councilman Newcomer expressed a desire to hold a workshop or the next workshop in the evening. So council was going to look at their calendars and provide some dates for probably next week.
Well, the evening is okay. We're talking about 7:30?
There is a planning board meeting next Thursday. I'm not sure about the other committees and council members.
Well, would it be good because everything's going to be set up for them?
Well, we have it at town hall.
Oh,
Where's the location?
Well, if we were expecting a large crowd for the public, I would not have it at all.
that's right. I was thinking it would be here.
I'll have to speak to them available.
Okay.
What we could conceivably do is, and we've done this before, is when we have our next council meeting in 2 weeks, perhaps have the budget workshop at 7, and then,
Does that work?
you know, it may push back the start of the council meeting, but
That's right.
everybody will be here.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, that sounds.
Date you already have here?
Yeah, it's gonna come anyway. What day is that? Oh, I should have.
March.
March 10th?
Start at 7.
March 10th at 7, you said?
You make sure I put it in
I'm
your-
all the way over here, I can't.
Sorry, March 10th at 7 p.m.
Well, we've done, the last time we did this, we just started the council meeting late.
Thank you for bringing that up, Mr. Carew.
What do you mean time for that night, or time like weeks wise, like after we have the budget meeting?
That night, yeah, normally,
Maybe a couple hours? We start at 6?
normally they would start at like 6, and then because you do roll into then the official action, they always kept them separate. They would have a cutoff date, or cutoff time, shall I say, of the meeting. But if you want to roll that into it, make it, it's,
6 o'clock?
So we want to start from March 10th?
6 good with everybody
I'm
then?
fine with that.
That's fine with me.
Yeah, good.
Okay, so the next budget meeting, folks, will be March 10th, 2014, 6 p.m. right here, 6 to 7:30.
Thank you.
We also have, Mr. Mayor, next on the agenda is we still have some outstanding appointments.
Yes, I did speak to Gina Siegel, and she's interested in going, I don't know if it was up before. She's interested in going back to the appearance committee, so we could try the paperwork. That was something that fell through the cracks when we were doing our appointments.
And then finally, although it's not in the
Can we actually, in between that time, Mr. Donakai actually had put forward that he was also interested in going back to the appearance committee. And the chair of the appearance committee wrote me and
Gina
asked.
Siegel?
There's one space now, one space left.
Okay, so this council will discuss,
And the benefit of Mr.
I'm
Donakai,
fine with either one. I mean,
Okay, Dave is a architect or an
yes,
engineer?
yes.
Architect, yes.
with a long history in the town of architectural benefit and benefit to the appearance committee, and also is a business owner, which is one of the qualifications in the code in the town.
Right.
I think either makes a very.
Greg, it's, there's only one spot left for the two of them.
Right.
You can be the one that calls Gina.
But Greg, since you brought up Dave, are you suggesting Dave instead?
I brought up Dave because the appearance committee chair said that this was, one of the things that was important was getting to where the code for the appearance committee says is important, is to have people who are, such as Richard Yeager was, graphic designers, people who are architects. Those are the people who aesthetically, not to say that Gina certainly isn't, but that was the goal. Either person is wonderful. But,
And was David on it before?
he was previous.
All right, that's good. I like the idea of giving new people new terms. Does anybody have a problem with David?
I don't know.
Steve? Dave?
That's fine with me.
Okay, good.
Take this out, okay.
Sounds like a plan.
And I will call you.
Thanks,
You
Greg.
bet you will.
Under, I guess, the title of other, Mr. Mayor, we do have Rob Motley and Rick Reagan here, our leaders on the Town Hall Library project. I've asked them to come provide some updates. We also have later in the agenda a resolution authorizing the purchase of furniture for the project, at least for the Town Hall side. The library's purchasing their own furniture, which is actually being purchased by the Friends of the Library. There'll be no impact and no cost to the taxpayer. But Rob or Rick, if you guys want to begin, actually, you know what? One of you can go to the microphone, but one of the things that I want to bring up, just so the council's aware of, and I think I've talked to you offline about, is Joe Galbraith, the library director, and I have over the last 4 or 5 months met with a number of potential vendors for the cafe, and what we've repeatedly run into is a concern because there's not a strong business model on municipal library cafes. The cost of fitting out the space as a investment that the vendor has to make. What we've been discussing with the team is, and the Reagan Design Group has drawn sketches up for this, and we're getting pricing from Sandy now, is the township would do the fit out. We have worked with a local restaurateur in town to get some feedback in terms of what would be needed. It's not going to be a place where food is made from scratch. It would just basically be food heated up, coffee and other beverages made. But I don't think we're ready to present anything to council tonight, other than just the heads up that this is coming. But it may be a potential change order that we're looking at in the future. So with that said, Rob, I'll let you give the rest of the update to council.
Thanks, Scott. Rob Notley, Greyhawk Construction Managers. We're the construction consultant to the township. Project is proceeding on schedule. We're still targeting substantial completion by the end of April. Substantial completion including the temporary certificate of occupancy for the building. And we're anticipating that the month of May is primarily going to be move-in month. Besides the town hall furniture, which Scott has already discussed to be on the agenda for tonight, and the library has also purchased furniture. There's quite a bit of logistics just with making those moves, and then also moving all the books over from the library and moving the contents of the temporary town hall into the building. So it's going to be a busy month of May after we get the TCO in April.
Well, Rob, and before you leave the moving point, just so council and the public are aware that I spent a lot of time last couple of months with the planning aspect of the move, and the goal is to basically, one Friday afternoon, town hall will be at 2 Executive Drive, and that Monday morning, we will be up and running in the new town hall, so there'll be no downtime for town hall. John Polkowitz has been working very closely with the team to make sure, and he's going to be able to get into town hall soon actually, to begin setting that all up.
Okay.
The library, however, because you're moving the actual materials, we're anticipating the library potentially being closed 2 to 3 weeks,
Okay.
while everything's going from one side. So while town hall will not be closed, the library will be.
Payments as of the end of January, the contractor was about 80% of the full cost of the project. We're anticipating a pencil copy payment application from him tomorrow. I expect that number will be about 86, 87% of the total contract value. We're still at 2.3% for total approved change orders. That includes the $38,000 in environmental enhancements, which is actually not a net cost to the township, because that money will be reimbursed by Rutgers. A few milestones recently. Permanent power is now on in the building. The transformer and switchgear have been energized. That's an important milestone for us. Painting in the building is about 70% complete. Exterior trim work, the fascia, the soffits, the coping, the solid metal work going around the perimeter of the roof of the building. That work is ongoing. Contractor's actually been doing some work on weekends to get caught up on that. VCT tile installation has started in the building. Ceramic tile installation is well underway. The bathrooms are about 90% tiled. Millwork installation has begun with some of the cabinet work inside the building. Ceiling grid is pretty much complete throughout the building, and permanent lighting is on now in the second floor. We haven't dropped any ceiling tiles into that grid because we need to get inspections done by the township before we can move forward with dropping ceiling tiles. We also don't want to drop ceiling tiles too early in the building, simply because of concern about environmental conditions. You don't want the building to be either too humid or not humid enough when ceiling tiles are being placed in the building. The solar panel installation, there's a modest solar array on the building for heating hot water. That installation is now started. Baseboard heating hot water piping is being installed. The temperature control, the ATC system, that is well along. Thermostats are being installed throughout the building. The fire pump has been installed. We're not at a point where we can start the fire pump yet because there's still some sprinkler work to be completed. And the dry chemical fire suppression system is also currently being